All right, for those of you guys who joined us, welcome. This is the Experts Q&A for MSIX. And before we get started, I'll just go through the agenda. So we're going to first introduce the MSIX team to you all, and then open up to Q&A, and then we'll have a couple of remarks for closing. Next slide, please. So how to engage with our team. So please use the chat box to ask your questions, either post anonymously or use your name. Questions will appear once they get approved by our moderators. Upvote your favorite ones using the like button. Experts will answer the questions verbally, and we'll answer the most important, most popular questions first. Next slide, please. And so this session will be recorded for internal use only. Please don't record this session, and help our moderators out by not spamming the chat and adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. And just to remind us all, so this is the Microsoft Code of Conduct. This is, please adhere to them throughout the build event. And then next slide. So let's start off with John. John, you're muted.
Sorry. I'm John Vinsel. I'm the program manager lead for most of the app technologies within the developer platform. That includes things like MSI, AppV, and most importantly, what we're here for today, MSIX. Tanaka.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tanaka Jima, and I'm a program manager on the MSIX team. I work on our deployment solutions for Windows and developer solutions for packaging and building as MSIX.
Hello, everyone. My name is Diane. I am a PM as well on MSIX.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte Akers. I also work on MSIX with everyone else here, and I own the MSIX packaging tool.
Hey everybody, I am Sahibi and I work on the MSIX team as a program manager. Welcome to the Q&A.
And I'm Roy McLaughlin, program manager on the MSIX team as well.
All right, so we do have our first question out. I'm going to go ahead and read it. So the first one is there any plans to allow MSIX to be deployed for hobbyists? Would there be would like to deliver apps without using expensive certificates? So the answer is yes. What we've done is we have we have the ability for you to sign your apps via device card signing. It's somewhat you do need, there are a couple of steps that we do have in our documentation for you to follow, but it is an alternative to expensive certificates. Yeah, and anybody else wants to answer or elaborate to that?
So let me add on to that. So, device card signing is great if you're within an enterprise because it allows you to sign with your Azure AD tenant. We did announce today, we had some other sessions that launched along with build as some extended pre-record sessions you can see on the M365 developer YouTube channel. We'll also have a blog up at the MSIX site, or you can see it on Twitter for the link. But we announced today that this summer we'll have a preview of what we call the Azure Trust Service, which allows signing to be extended for basically anyone that's either a citizen developer all the way through enterprises. So you'll see that launch of the Azure Trust Service coming in preview this summer. And like I said, in this session, we'll cover a little bit of code signing. You'll be able to actually see a live demo of the Azure Trust Service. So look for the MSIX blog for a little bit more detail coming up, or check out my Twitter handle for a link to the session that covers that.
Cool. I've got another question. I could read it out and then anybody in the team can answer. So are we able to package C# plugins using MSIX and use it in WinUI desktop?
So you guys can, you're able to actually use C# plugins, and WinUI desktop integrates nicely into to MSIX. In fact, WinUI, I believe, also has a framework package for MSIX as well.
Cool. I'll ask the next question by it's from Lorenzo. Can we pack ASP.NET Core web apps with MSIX?
So if you are the client, whatever you're defaulting for the client, you can package as MSIX and deploy on the client. But the web app side of things, you can't really package MSIX today. But anything you're creating for the client side, you can.
Cool. We have another question here. Mike from Melbourne. Are we able to use MSIX to deploy a Windows service to Windows 10 and Windows Server machines?
The answer to that is yes. If you have an existing app, you can use the MSIX packaging tool to convert that application and capture those services and deploy them to those releases. You can deploy services using the latest OS release. So the 2004 release is where services are supported. For conversion, you can do that down level, but for actually using an MSIX with services, it does require the latest Windows 10 OS.
Cool. And then just to kind of comment on the Windows Server side, Windows Server supports MSIX on Windows Server 2019. We will need a newer update to Windows Server to support services because Windows Server 2019 is built off the 1809 release. You won't actually be able to install the services because we need the 2004 code base for that.
Cool. Yeah, keep those questions coming in, guys. So the next question is from Peter. Hi, Peter. Thank you for writing your questions. First one is, does MSIX support per user installation?
And the answer is yes. MSIX actually defaults to the per user installation. And then there is a way if you're an admin to install for all users of the device.
And then the second question is, will MSIX improve support on older versions of Windows?
We are looking at what more we can do down level for things that are in market supported. We did earlier, or I should say late last year, December timeframe, release what we call MSIX Core, which allows you to at least leverage the same package for both things as low as Windows 7, which is now out of support, but like Windows 8.1 and some of the older LTSB channels. You can go in and actually deploy that similar to like an MSI using that same package. We are looking overall how we can better support things like the features that are on 2004 all the way down to 1809. And some of that was announced through kind of like how we were talking about Project Reunion through the Build Conference. It's something that we're aware of and we're trying to address. Any features that you have that you're looking to get pulled further down level, ping us and let us know so we can see how those can get prioritized.
Excellent. I got a question here that says, what is the future of ClickOnce application type?
Yeah, so I'll grab this one. I'll let other people answer so after this. So what's the future of ClickOnce? ClickOnce is, it's there. People can leverage it. We've done a lot of things in the MSIX technology base to actually be similar on par with ClickOnce and better in a lot of ways. So we have a manifest-driven auto update through what we call the app installer file. It does everything that ClickOnce does and even more. Like you can set it to actually do background updates when the app's not launching. So If you're using ClickOnce, it's there. You can keep using it, or you can start moving to things like MSIX that give you, some richer functionality, and also gives you things like hopefully people have seen the differential updates that we do. So we reduce the total time to go and update those applications.
Cool. So next question's from Jason. Line of business apps connections being unable to deploy apps via Intune. Are there any known issues with this form of deployment?
Hold on. Roy, did you want to hop in on this one?
Oh, so sorry. So what was the question? I apologize.
Not a problem. Line of business apps connection being unable to deploy apps via Intune. Are there any known issues with this form of deployment?
Not that I'm aware of, as far as being able to have the ability to deploy MSIX applications out through Intune. Perhaps maybe, Jason, if you can give some more details on what your challenge is exactly, and we can dive a little deeper into maybe a more direct answer.
Yeah, Jason. So MSIX is supported in the OS platform and completely supported with Intune, all the way down to 1709, which is our base support for MSIX. But if there's other problems you're experiencing, ping us and let us know. We can either dive into it more, or we can connect with the Intune folks to figure out what's going on over there as well.
Yeah, and just to remind for folks, if you guys would like to connect with us and the team, our alias is right here on the screen, MSIX experts at Microsoft.com. Will answer any and all of your questions. So next question is there a solution for mitigating an existing desktop app to MSIX without requiring users to reinstall the app?
Yeah, so if you have an existing installer that you're using, you can use the MSIX packaging tool, which is free in the Microsoft Store, as well as we've got a link to the latest version for offline download on our tech community. But you can use the MSIX packaging tool to take any of your existing installers and convert them to MSIX. The reinstalling, as long as your identity is the same for the MSIX package, it should just update. We are working on, or we're looking into what it might look like to upgrade an existing application that your user already has installed into MSIX.
All right, next question is from Jody. Where can we find a roadmap for MSIX App Attached?
So you got it, Tanaka, or you want me to?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So MSIX App Attached is currently in public preview, and we are still working on bringing existing features and improving the feature, but we do not have a public-facing roadmap at the moment.
Yeah. So you'll see a few more things land upcoming with MSIX App Attached. Some of the timelines aren't currently publicly available, but you'll see more things later this year, like integration with the Windows Virtual Desktop portal. Like I said, we do have the preview of MSIX App Attached based off the 2004 build. We're also adding support for what we call the SIMFS file system to help with a lot of the performance there. And then further down the road, hopefully this year, but maybe early next year, we'll have a deeper integration with Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Intune.
Yeah, lots of questions coming in. So give me 1 second. All right. So we got another question that says, does Microsoft plan to use MSIX more?
Yeah, so absolutely. It's something that we're actively moving more and more apps to. So, as most people know, it was 1809 was our base version of release. A lot of apps are already in flight, or even targeting things like Windows 8. So we're slowly moving a bunch of apps over. We have mentioned a few times through various channels that we're on a long-term move of Office to MSIX. So that'll be one of the bigger apps that'll go. The thing is that one takes just a bit of time, because we're not gonna change it overnight. We're gonna make sure we gradually roll that out to enterprises and don't disrupt that service. As we move more and more apps over, you'll see things. There's tons of apps available through the Microsoft Store, things like the packaging tool, Power BI is there, Photos apps there, the mail clients there. So there's a lot building on the platform, and then a few of those larger older apps we're slowly moving over. So you'll see more and more migrating over, along with a lot of other great apps like Spotify and iTunes, which happen to leverage our store as well and ship on the MSIX format.
So the next one we've got is, in a mixed Windows 7, 8, and 10, do you recommend using MSI or MSIX? And so I could start this off, and then folks on my team can join in. So we have this a product called MSIX Core that allows you to essentially deploy an MSIX on Windows 7 and 8. Now you don't get the benefits of like Windows 10, for example, containerization. But if you have this mixed environment setting, you could use MSIX today to package your apps.
Yeah, I think you know that there, Dan. As we kind of look at it, the way I kind of position it is, hey, if you're an actual an enterprise, go ahead and leverage MSIX Core. We have a redistributable MSI. You can easily get out to your clients. Use one package everywhere. If you're an ISV targeting a series of consumers, you might not want to take a dependency on that MSI to get MSIX Core out there. Then you can leverage a thing like a mix. Looking at some of our partners or even some of our own apps, we have a down level MSI, and then we have a richer MSIX for the Windows 10 platform.
All right, our next question is from, I apologize, I'm going to butcher the name, Bertrand. Will MSIX support the use of context menus, being able to add to?
Okay, I can grab this one. So we actually do support most context menu types today in MSIX. In most cases, if you're repackaging with the MSIX packaging tool, those will just come over. There are a few types that end up using some deep in-proc shell extension handlers. We are looking at what we can do there. We actually recommend moving off those because it does add instability to the UX in the shell. Shell team has been actually encouraging people to get off that. But the vast majority of things that are that you need to do a context menu for, you can easily use an MSIX today.
Nice. All right, so next question is, are MSIX packages related to the new reunion libraries?
Yeah, I'll take that one just because I know it's a little early stuff. So a lot of reunion is actually leveraging and building off MSIX. One of the concepts we might look at for reunion libraries is leveraging things like our framework packages and extending that type of model. But you'll see a lot of the reunion libraries delivered with the MSIX format. And then likewise, whether you're a packaged or an unpackaged app, you can start leveraging more of MSIX very easily.
All right. Sorry, I was switching monitors. Okay. What platforms support the use of MSIX? So I'll take this one. It is supported all the way back to 1709 on Windows 10. Like I've said before, with MSIX Core, you could deploy an MSIX package on a Windows 7 and Windows 8 and so on. A couple things also is with our MSIX SDK, you could deploy these packages to other platforms such as Android and iOS, and all of these are documented in our documentation, and we've got a good table to basically explain all of those different features that are supported. Oh, here it is. The next question from Mark is, will MSIX eventually support installs on Linux/Mac OS? Oh, I just mentioned this. But yes, so you could use MSIX SDK to deploy an MSIX on Linux, and the process is documented in our GitHub as well as in our documentation. So great. Okay, do we know, next question is, do we know when an MSIX replacement will be released to replace the functionality of app-B connection groups? I can take that one. So we are working on an ability for IT pros to have apps be inside the same container, such that things like customization and overlays that connection groups are used for can be achieved. And it's coming in. We're actively developing that right now. And so the next question is it possible with MSIX to allow for URL parameters?
I can try to answer that one. So it's not really clear exactly what's being asked here, but I think there's been other requests that we have seen come in where folks want to, when you're installing an MSIX, also pass the parameter in with the URL to app installation. That's not available today with MSIX, but it is something we're looking at. If that is something, if that's the right question there, I recommend on our community, we have an ideas section, go and upvote that because the top items we generally prioritize in our backlog. So hopefully I got that one right.
All right, so the next one is, what is the status of MSIX App Attached?
So yeah, I think we spoke a little bit about it earlier, but yeah, we're currently in public preview, and we are still working to bring more features and improvements to MSIX App Attached. We're going to add integration into the WVD portal so that you can easily take advantage of MSIX App Attached for your deployments from there. And then we also have some improvements in the file system that we're using with the new SimFS file system, and so that'll improve performance. And then we're also working to integrate more deeply just into the WVD infrastructure. And yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff we have coming up.
Cool. Next one is, are there options for signing an MSIX application without the use of a costly certificate? This was mentioned earlier before, but yes, we have. If you are an enterprise and you have the ability to use the device guard signing, that is an option. Another option is during build, it was announced the preview of Azure Trusted Signing Service. I hope I have that acronym right, ATS.
It's Azure Trust Service.
Thank you. So many acronyms at Microsoft. Shocker, right? So yes, we definitely have a couple of options for you there.
And then just to reinforce the Azure Trust Service, we did announce it today through some supplemental build material, but that will be in preview this summer. So that's not announced it's available today. The preview will be coming later this summer.
Okay, Ken M has a question. Are there plans to support a more customized installation experience, such as end user license agreements or terms of service UI?
Sure, I can take that one. So generally, a lot of the things that we've been seeing is trying to get these things out of the install path and into the first run experience. So for customized terms of service agreements or end user license agreements, we recommend having those on the first launch experience so that folks can get to better automated installations and quicker installations overall. Whether you're using things like Microsoft Endpoint Manager or the newly announced Windows Package Manager, the push to get quicker, faster installs is kind of out there. So we're trying not to clog up the install path with prompts and things like that. And much like you'll see with things like Office, even outside of MSIX, they've moved all those to the first launch experience for they accept. So it's generally the way we go.
All right, I got a question here about, are applications deployed via MSIX protected by Windows against tampering?
Yes, they are. So whenever a package is deployed on Windows, an MSIX package is deployed on Windows, we make sure that to have integrity bits that we set on the package, and anytime if that package is tampered by a malicious party or becomes corrupt for some other reason, Windows, our deployment system is able to pick up on that based on the bits that we set on the package. And that's where also things like signing your package come into play, because we use all that integrity to enforce the validity of a package. So if a package does become tampered or does become corrupt at any point in time, deployment will pick up on that and then kick off a remediation process or a repair process to fix the package.
Sorry for a moment there, my mute wasn't working. All right. Okay, so I got a question here about are config manager PowerShell command lines going to be available for MSIX? Oh, sorry.
So I think this one's just a little unclear. So I'm not sure what the exact ask for the question is. Maybe we go to the next one, and hopefully the person can kind of resubmit with a little more detail.
Yes, and please go ahead and email us at msixexperts@microsoft.com if we didn't get to your question. All right, next one is, can MSIX App Attached be used with Windows 10 multi-session image in Azure when it has been updated to 2004 in a RDSH environment?
Yes, as long as you have the 2004 image, the multi-session image, you should be able to use MSIX App Attached. You should be fine there.
All right, and I know I skipped a couple of questions, so apologize for that. I got a question here about, is it possible to deploy a VSTO or Office add-on as an MSIX package? I mean, I could start it. So we do have the ability for you to package an add-on as a modification package if it only uses Office. There's some limitations to that, which we've documented in our documentation, but the ability is there. You could do that. And then I got another one, is there a guide to move from ClickOnce to MSIX deployment?
Yeah, if you have existing ClickOnce applications, you can use the MSIX packaging tool to convert those to MSIX. We are currently looking into ways to also migrate your app data and things like that, just to make the transition a little bit easier for you.
And then one thing we do have in the interim to kind of help with that is we do have the ability through what we call the package support framework to add custom PowerShell scripts within your enterprise. So as long as they're signed into that package, and you can use it on a first run of that app to go and help migrate the app data.
Cool. And I think we are almost on time. So before we end this, I'd like for you guys to remind everyone to connect with us via our alias. So MSIXexperts@microsoft.com. We'll be there answering your questions. Please visit our resources with our documentation, aka.ms/MSIX. Engage with us in our community. We're actively there answering questions. And then as well as our MSIX SDK, so you could see how you could package your apps and potentially deploy them on other platforms, as well as our MSIX toolkit that will also help with packaging and deployment.
Cool. And I just want to really reemphasize, a great way to engage with us is our MSIX community. Not only can we be, open and transparent, but other people can benefit from your questions as well. So we're actively on that on a daily basis, the folks on this call, plus, our broader team. So questions that you have, the community is a great place for it. There's also a section in the community called Ideas. If you have feature requests or asks for MSIX, put them in there. Folks can upvote them, and we can use that community feedback to help drive change into the product. Cool.
Right.
And
Thank you, everyone.
For joining us.
Bye.
Enjoy build.